Today I finished this top and I decided that I want to do something different for the channel, and I actually want to show a little tutorial how to make these tops. These are very beginner friendly. I actually have made similar design for the jumpers, but since it's summer season, I thought maybe we could go ahead and make a top version of this jumper. And in front of me I have some of the yarns that, not specifically this one is required, you can use any, but if you want to follow this type of tutorial you can find similar yarns and similar needle size. So for this I have chosen Drops Alpaca Brushed Silk. And I think the specs on this one was, yeah, here they are. There's 77% alpaca wool and 23% silk. So this one I've made in some kind of greenish tone, but it comes off very blue to me. So it's like pastel tones, and you will need about 4.5 pieces of these. So the project itself is quite cheap to make, which is always good for beginners in case you decide that you don't want to maybe continue on it, or maybe it doesn't turn out exactly the way you wanted. So I guess at least the expense is not that high. So yeah, that's about the yarn, and then also about the needles. I'm just gonna be using these needles on a wire, and the measurements for these are 4.5 millimeters, or it also says number 7 on the needle. Yeah, so the first thing we need to do for these, we will be casting on 100 stitches. So if you are familiar with knitting or just starting to knit, you can use any cast on method that you prefer. So when you are making these, you probably want to leave just a little extra tail in case you might run out of the yarn, because for me I better prefer to leave it longer than running out in the middle and then starting over. So my first thing is to make this first loop here, and after that I'm just gonna do it like this. So it's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and I'm gonna be continuing like this until I got 100 on the needle. And so I have casted on 100 stitches. I just double counted just in case. And now what we need to do is we need to gather them and make a loop. So we will be knitting in a round, and for that we just need to move all these stitches to the other side of the needle and just like make them all here. And then we also need to make sure that we don't misalign them. They need to go very nicely in the round so they don't have any twists, and they are ready to be joined at this part here. So we need to make a circle here, and we also need to knit them purl 1, knit 1, and I will show you just in a second. Also make sure that you are starting to knit with the thread that is connected to the ball of the yarn. because sometimes it has happened to me that I just start knitting with the end and then I just run out of the yarn, and it's very annoying. So just make sure you have your right yarn in hand. So here we are. We will start our first round, and let's make it happen. It might be a little bit tricky at first to get them aligned, but once you will go past the first row, it will become easier. This project, actually, once you get started with it, you can finish it quite quickly. I think if I was able to knit every day for at least a couple hours a day, I think it can be done within a week. So it's not going to take you long at all. And I think it's a fun little summer project for yourself. I didn't mention that these yarns actually were on sale when I got them, so I bought 6 pieces of each color, but for the top I only needed like 4.5, a little over 4, I would say. And the 6 of them costed me 13 euros, which is really cheap if you think about it, because I don't know where could you possibly buy alpaca top blended with silk for 13 euros, and I didn't even need 6 of them, so I mean under 10 euros for a top with premium materials like that can be quite good in itself. I think that's a motivation for hand making some of the stuff, because usually you wouldn't be able to buy things like that. And even if you find an alpaca top, it will run probably 100 euros. So you're basically saving like 80 euros from just making it yourself. And actually, is much, you will appreciate the item much more and take better care than just like store-bought items. At least I find that to be true for myself. So we have made it in this far. My needle is kind of long, so I need to pull it along just so it fits. So also, if that's the same in your case, don't be disheartened by it. You can just make it work. You don't have to buy a ton of new needles just for this project. I find that most of my projects work well with the same type of needles. So I made it around the first round, and I also added a little marker here. So this thingy marks where my round starts, and from here you just need to follow about 6 rounds, and then I will meet you at the end for the next steps. So here we are. I decided that I will make 5 rounds of the beginning knitting. So here you can see them all finished, And here with white, I have marked the beginning of the circle. So for the next part, you will need some markers. I like to make my markers just by cutting some yarn and then tying them into loops. So these will cost you nothing to make. It's just grab some scrap yarn and you will be good to go. For this project you will need 8 of these. I prefer these ones to be in a different color than my marker that marks the round where the beginning is, just so it's easier to track on the work itself. And now we will place these markers around our work. What we need to do is we need to knit one round just with a stock knit stitch. We did previously, these ones are just one purl, one knit, but now we will place the markers and they will be just with a knit stitch. Also good to know where this white marker is. This is the middle of the back, so it will make sense as we go along, but just keep in mind that this will be the back side of your work. So since I had 100 stitches, and if you do have 100 stitches as well, then you can follow along and mark all of these 8 markers here. First we need to knit 14 stitches. So that should be 14. Now we place our first marker here. Simply just add this onto the needle. Don't do anything with it and keep knitting. So now you will need to knit 2. So these will be for the side seam going into the arms. So you do 2, place another marker. Okay. Now you will knit 18. So this will be for the arm part of the top or the jumper, whichever you choose to knit. Okay, so we've done 18. Again, we place a marker here. Now again we knit 2 for the seam. Now we place another marker. And now we will be knitting 28. And this will be for the front of the project. Then place a marker again. Knit 2 for the seam. Place marker again. Now you have reached again the other arm part, so this will be 18 stitches now. Okay, so it's 18. Now marker again. Last 2 for the marker. Place the last one. And now you should be left again with 14 stitches until the beginning of your work. So let's knit those as well. Okay, so it's 14. This is the beginning of the work, so we can just transfer it back on the other needle so we can start another round. So here it's very easy to tell that you have done a full circle because you have reached your marker that is in a different color. This is why I highly suggest to make a different colored yarn for marking your rounds. And now all the work looks like this. It still forms a nice little circle as long as you have your needles kind of spread a little bit. You can see that it makes it nice and fluffy, and you can see all the markers that we've made. And now the next round will be for us to start making the increases so we can get more of these stitches for our arms, and also for our jumper to make like front and back, just so it gets larger from here. Okay, so now we need to make our first round with increases. So we slip this beginning marker, and then we knit until we reach our first pink marker. So for us it means 14 stitches here. And then we have reached this marker over here. So we need to pick up a stitch right here in the middle. So you need to be going in from the back, pick it up, and then knit this as if it was a stitch. So you've made one, then you slip your marker, then you knit these two as you just normally would, then you slip the other marker, and then this time you're gonna pick this up from the front. So you will make the stitch again like this, and you will continue until the other marker. And basically you will do exactly this for all your markers. So the first one you will go in from behind, and the other one you will make from the front. And really the quick story here is that you will make these on every other row. So one row you will make no increases, just gonna knit it like knit stitch, and then on the second row you will make these increases. So we again have gotten to our marker, so we pick this strain up, knit it, move the marker, knit the seam, then we move our marker again. Now we're gonna pick it up from front like this, and you're gonna be knitting it like that, and you continue for all 4 of your markers, because this is the round where you do your increases. Again, approaching the increase marker, move that one, knit these two, pick this up from the front again, knit it, and we make new stitch. Keep knitting until our last 4th marker. So we will be getting until our last one for this round. It's very easy because this is just stock knit stitch, so you can sew from the behind, you can take it from the back, loop it around, there we go, move this, knit 2, pick this one up from front like so, and knit it as a new stitch. And now that's all the increases for the first round is done. We're going back to our marker in white that marks our rounds, and the next round will be plain with no increases, so we will just pass all the markers, but we're not going to make any increases in here. Then from here on little will change, because each time you will be doing one round with increases and one round without increases. While I'm knitting the round with no increases, I'm just gonna explain a little bit further on this. I will meet you a little bit later when we'll be making arms or the armholes. So see here, we just knit the one we made, slip the marker, we don't make any increases, we knit 2, we slip this marker again, don't make any increases, just knit the stitch that we made previous round, and we continue on. This is where you can be a little bit flexible, because this size that I'm making is for small or extra small or even medium. But if you want your work to be looser and fit a bit oversized, you can just keep going with these increases. That will make your work bigger and you will have like the size you wish. I think I will need to make 20 or 30 increases. And then I will meet you back when the work is far enough so we can take our armhole stitches aside and we can start working on the body of the top. Good morning. This is the day 2 of the project and I've made it this far. And I wanted to check in because I have ran out of the yarn. So this is the end of the first skein and we will attach the other one as well. So I have here the second piece of the yarn. And I have decided that I will attach it here, even though I have a little bit left, just because this will be the arms part, so I don't want the knot being on the front, even though I know that it won't be visible because it's on the other side. I just rather prefer it to be here on the hand rather than in front. And just for the attaching, I'm gonna flip it on the other side, so right here. And quite simply, I will just make a little loop like this, loop these together, pull through, and then secure it as close to the needle as possible. Okay. And now this is all attached. I will cut these shorter just so they don't bother me in the way. Want to leave a little bit, but not too much. Something like this. Remove the extra. Also, while we are here today, I wanted to go over how far I still need to knit this chest part until our armholes need to be made. So this will be the front of the work. You can see I have my white marker here, so that means that this is the back of the work for my project. And let's just measure with the other top that I've made before how far is still for us to go until we can make the armholes. So I'm just gonna align it with the blue one right here. We'll measure the seam. We can see that we still have this part to knit until we reach the armpit right here. So we need to make about the same size that we already have. So probably by the end of this yarn ball we will have reached the desired length for small to medium size. Okay, I will see you back when that happens, and then we can make our hand part. Good morning, it's day 3. Today we will make hands for our project, and first I'm gonna give you a little overview how far we are with this project. So I've made it this far, and on the front side of the work I now have 82 stitches. So if you count these, there should be 82 from this marker here that marks the arm side until the other marker right here. And then for the arms, at the moment we have 72 stitches. So this is how many increases I've done from the beginning of the work. And if you're following with a similar yarn, that's where you should be too, before starting to take off these stitches for your hands. So what we need to do next is we just need to continue knitting until the first markers here for the hands. So you can see that at the moment I'm in the middle here. This is my middle backside marker, and I'm gonna make my way to here, to the first pink marker that I have. Now I'm at my first marker here, so I can just remove it, put it aside for now. These 2 stitches are my seam stitch for making all the increases. So I'm gonna be just continuing knitting with no increases in this round. So 1, 2. Now I'm at my second marker for the armholes, and now I can remove this one too. Now what we will do is you need a longer string like this one. I'm gonna use just another scrap yarn. You will need 2 of these for each of the hands, and you can also use another pair of needles, but I just find that putting them on the yarn is easier for me. So now we're going to transfer all of these stitches that we have until the second marker where the arm stitches will end. And what I like to do is just grab a needle and move them all on here. Can just make this longer now so they don't escape. Meanwhile, I'm going to transfer all my stitches. Okay, it's the last one. And then we have this marker here which marks these two seam stitches. They will stay on the needle that we're gonna knit with. And at the moment I have all of these 72 stitches on this crochet needle, and now I will flip it around and I need to thread these on this scrap yarn that will be our holding piece for the time being. Just gonna carefully make sure each stitch is added on the scrap yarn right here. Just carefully pulling it through. Now we got all of them on the yarn. And now we can just tie these ends so they don't come undone and no stitches escape from the yarn, like so. Now we've made a little loop over here. So what we need to do now is go back to our work here. We're having our knitting yarn over here. All of the other stitches from the hand have been moved aside for now. And on the other side we have the seam, 2 stitches. We still have this marker because we didn't knit these two yet, but we will make these. We will need to knit both sides together now. Okay, so just make sure you have your yarn free, and you just need to continue knitting these with no increases. Just need to unite these two sides. Then you can remove the marker after you've knit your 2 stitches. And then continue on until you reach the other side of the armhole, and then you will do exactly the same as we did before. So now I have knitted the front side of the work. I'm here again at the marker. So the first marker we just remove. We knit these 2 stitches as per normal. Then we can remove this second marker, and these will be the stitches that we need to transform again to our scrap yarn so that they can be held off for a little while. We will be doing exactly the same as the previous time. We will move these on our crochet needle, all of the 72 stitches, and then we will just transfer them on the yarn.
And again, just like the last time, for this hand as well, we just need to reunite these two sides. We're gonna need these two. Remove the marker. And now we need to just finish our round. We can just keep this marker. This should be the only marker left on your work because we have removed all the other ones. Since we don't need them, we have finished until the part where we have taken off the arms for the work. So it should be looking something like this to you as well. So you can see these are the increase lines. This is now where your arms will be made, and now all of this is just united again in a round. So this will be your part for the body. You will need to knit it approximately the same size that you have at the moment, just for your desired length. And now you're all set for doing just that. You just need to keep going with this until you have the right size for you. So I will meet you later on when we have done the body side, and then we just need to finish the work at the bottom, and then we will start working on the hands. Okay guys, we're back here with our work. I have managed to make the body until when we need to bind it off. For me it looks like it's about 50 centimeters long from the top, so you can use that as a reference just to know how far you need to knit before you take it off. And then here for this and I just made one knit, one purl stitch for 4 rows, just so it looks nice and it doesn't roll upwards. And now I've reached my marker here, which marks the 4th row. So now we will together do the bind off, and then the body will be finished and we can move on to the hands part. I will finish my last stitches here until my marker, and we will start the binding off. See the marker? I can just remove it now. And from now we will do each stitch as a knit stitch. So the first one here, just like that, and then the other one we will just pull over it like so. Then again one knit, and then just move it over, and we will continue like this until all of them have been bind off. You can see that it just creates this nice stitch and no other stitches are left, just the last one that we made. So we just continue like this, and this is how you bind off your edge at the end. At least that's how I do it. You can probably find other ways to do it, and that's totally fine too. Okay, now here we are. We just need to finish these 3 stitches and we will be done with this part of binding the project off. The last one, loop it over. Okay, and we are left with the last stitch on the needle, and we can just leave a little room with the yarn and cut it off. Now what I usually like to do is just loop it through the stitch so it holds it better, kind of pull it along, make a little knot, And that's it.
Hey guys, welcome back for the probably one of the last updates that we're gonna do in this video. I made the arm part and I decided to make it just like straight so it would look wide when you wear it. One of them is already done, as you can see, and the other one we will make shortly. So both of them are exactly the same to make, and so I will only show on this one now, and then we can finish the work together.
We will start right here. As you can see, this is the part where we took off our stitches and added them on the just the thread. And so now first step we need to do is grab our needles, and we will transfer all of these stitches on the needle. I like to keep my wire still on and then remove it once all of the stitches are on the needle. So let's start with the first one. Okay, looks like we have transferred all of them on the needles. Now we can remove this yarn that was holding our stitches in place. Now we need to grab the yarn and we will start knitting the hand part here. But before we do that, we need to make 4 new stitches, because as you can see from picking up these stitches that we didn't use for a while, we have created a little bit of a hole here, and just to fill it out we will pick up 2 stitches on each side so it looks more polished and you don't have a hole in your jumper. Alright, so we start here, 1 and 2. Now we will place the marker, because this will be the middle section. We will create other 2 stitches, and then we just continue with our existing stitches, just knitting the knit stitch until we reach our marker back here. Now we have reached our new created stitches, these 2 right before the marker. And what I like to do is I just like to tie a little knot here with the yarn that I'm knitting, and the yarn end where I started it, if that makes sense. So here I'm just gonna make sure it's secured and doesn't go anywhere. I'm doing this little knot just before my 2 newly created stitches. So this starting yarn is secured in place, and then for the new stitches I like to knit them from this, in this case to make from front like so, and then this one too. And then we skip the marker, do the same. Okay, then we've done our 4 new stitches, and then we just continue basically until you have reached the length of your arms, and then We just need to finish the work and that's it. So you can see I have knitted a few rounds already, and this is a good part where you can end the arm part if you want short sleeve top. So for me, I decided that I'm gonna do the full length, so I will need to do a little bit more. But if you do want short sleeves, you can just wait now until I finish the whole length, and then we will together make and finish it. So yeah, the good thing is that you can decide how long you want the arm part, and I will meet you at the end when we need to finish the seam for the end. Morning guys! Today we're finishing this video, also we're finishing the project. So we literally need to do last 3 rows. So I am reaching my marker right here, and we will start taking off the arm part. And it's not that far from we will reveal the whole jumper, and hope you're excited too. So let's finish it. Okay, so now we're gonna knit 2 rows, knit 1 purl one, and that will make the jumper's arm part finished. I am now approaching the end of my second row with knitting 1 knit 1 purl. So I'm just gonna make my last 2 stitches. Now I'm removing the marker, and now we can start the bind off here for our arm. So for this one I knit the first one, and then I am just reducing it by 1. Now when you do this part, make sure that you kind of do it loosely, because you want your seam to be quite loose. I have the example on this side here. So yeah, just make it a little bit looser than you regularly knit. We just need to make our last stitches, and then we are all done. Okay, last one. And that's it. Okay, so this is the final result. I'm quite happy about it. It has these very wide and long sleeves, covers my hands quite well. It's quite cozy. Paired it with the skirt, I think looks nice. If you made one too, let me know how it went. But yeah, now I'm gonna film a little clips with me walking around in this jumper. And thank you for watching, and see you next time. Bye.